So, this morning, on the way to make my tea, I stepped on a shard of glass. It was about 3 or 4 days ago that my roommate dropped a glass from a tall shelf and it shattered, and we thought we had gotten all the pieces. My hair is funny. But we didn't, obviously, because I stepped on one today. My foot started bleeding really, really badly. And I hadn't planned on posting anything today or working on anything today, but, well, not working on anything, but not doing any of this today, but it just got me thinking about things. Like lately I've been having a mixture of types of dreams, some of them very good, and some of them quite painful, but in a very healing way, not like painful in a scary or stressful way, just, kind of confronting things in my subconscious that I didn't realize had been bothering me. Last night in particular, I dreamt about a friend who had passed away a few years ago. Gosh, maybe about 10 years ago now. And it was one of those dreams where you just wake yourself up crying. You're so emotional in the dream that it translates into the real world. And over the last couple of days, I've really been taking the time to confront a lot of the pain and trauma in my body. Trying to feel the ability to be relaxed everywhere in my body. And that's not always easy for me. I've experienced a lot of very negative things in my life. And so there are places that I squeeze and places that I have blockages and I shut off energetically because I honestly don't even realize I'm doing it till I realize that I'm doing it. And so here I am this morning, very unshowered with a slightly bleeding foot, because it just came to me that that's what trauma is like. Little shards of glass on the floor you can't see anymore, but when you step on it, you start bleeding. And that was really, one of those synchronous, serendipitous things about life when you're going through something emotionally and then you go through something physically that totally mirrors it. And I think that there's a lot of things in life that are like that, where we think we've gotten it all, we think we've cleared it all up, we think we've solved it all, and then there's this tiny shard of glass we don't see that ends up so painful. And I think it's a great, metaphor for understanding the different phases and cycles. In this particular situation, my friend that had passed away, he had moved away quite some time ago. And when he passed away, I wasn't really able or ready to process the grief because he was in a situation when we were living near each other where his choices weren't leading to a very good life, and I did the best that I could to keep him from making extremely bad choices. And that was a very taxing situation. I, of course, was happy to do the job to keep my friend around, but, you can't make somebody want to be here more than they want to be here. And so when he moved away and he had a whole entire different life after he had moved away, which I was hoping would be better for him, but subsequently was, not I haven't been able to, even and really talk about it. Not like I don't talk about it. It's just like, yeah, that happened, and I don't even know how I feel yet. I don't know how I feel yet. And last night I was able to, through my dream, really process how I did feel about it. How um, much grief I still had unresolved inside from that situation. And before I went to bed last night, I did a somatic grief release exercise, relieving, depression and grief in the small intestine. And yesterday throughout the day, I did a lot of meditating on relieving some grief, and there was other people who have passed away that I have, not really processed the grief of. And it's shocking to me, like, because so many people in my life have passed away, and I am very logical about it often, almost always, because it's just a part of life. I think because my father passed away when I was so young that it just became something so very natural. Like, there's the initial pain and the initial shock and the initial things you go through when somebody passes away, but it's not something that typically, upends me. It's something that I, do feel, but it's, I guess it's just a little different for me. And yesterday I was very shocked to find that someone who had passed away almost 25 years ago now was a major blockage in my life. Like, she had been ill for quite some time before she passed away, and I just didn't realize how much I had wanted her to be around, because she wasn't close. She lived out of state. She was a relative, and I didn't get to see her all that often, and I didn't realize how much joy she had brought into my life. How warm her presence was. You know how funny someone is. You know how much you like them, but you don't know how much sometimes they mean to you. She was kind of the sweetness. Like, she reminds me of, like, sweet tea. With a shot of liquor in there too. And I was surprised to find that a lot of the grief in my body had to do with her passing. And, because you expect it to be the people who are closer to you, the people who are obvious, the obvious things. Like my father, I expected there to be a lot of that, but I do a lot of that processing, which is why I could never really understand why there was still so many shards of glass inside, I suppose, so many places that there was still pain. And, we're nearing Samhain or Halloween and All Hallows Eve and All Saints Days and All Souls Day. So it's not surprising to me that I'm dealing with people who've passed on that my love for them is deeper than I realized, and that's a lot of the pain and the grief that I have, and that I'm dreaming about them, dreaming about a lot of past situations that just need to be acknowledged and cleared away and let go of. Not let go of, like, I don't think about it anymore, but, like, acknowledge that this, the level of the hurt, and let some of that hurt out, if not all of it, so that I can really process, how much that person meant to me, and how much I would actually enjoy having them around still. I spent a better part of yesterday really just acknowledging how much my relative had meant to me, and how warm her presence was, and just how much she cared. It was such a difference in the way that I was treated, the way that she treated me. What she noticed, what she acknowledged, what she thought was important for my development, People who are older than you have a lot of different opinions about how children should be treated. She passed away when I was in high school, and like I said, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her. But acknowledging how loving she was towards me, how much she cared about what happened to me, how people talked to me, how people treated me, how much love there was in her hug. It kind of shocked me that is, I honestly want to say it was one of the biggest blockages in my life, because a lot of my life I felt very, not unloved, but in a sense unloved, unwanted, definitely underappreciated. My dog. But, Alfred, please. No barking. Always one last one. Oh, come on. And so I think it was a shock to me that's what was really trapped inside, is that I wasn't acknowledging how loved I was. I wasn't acknowledging how much I would have loved for her to live closer. I wasn't acknowledging how happy it made me to see her. She was just such a unique individual. Unlike any of her brothers and sisters, but still so similar to them. And I dare say she might have been one of my favorite people without even knowing that she was one of my favorite people. And that hurts, to have such a profound realization in hindsight that you can't fix. And hang on one second. Alfred, stop please. No barking. Alfred. Alfred George, enough. I had to use the middle name. Anyways, I think it's important to take this time, during this time of year specifically, to acknowledge anybody you may have not realized you felt deep enough for who's passed on. At least I'm finding value in it. I'm finding the ability to feel safer in my body, because I'm not hiding deep emotions from myself. I think, between these two people that I've realized, like, how I really felt. I've opened up a new sense of awareness inside myself, a new softness, a new calmness. And it's been so good for me. to have this new level of understanding, to let go of some of the places inside my body where I wasn't able to acknowledge how I felt. And I've had to sit still because I hurt my hand. So now I have an injured shoulder on this side and an injured hand on this side. It really limits what you're capable of doing. And so I've really just been taking the time to sit down, to think, to meditate, to feel, and try to heal what I can heal, try to go over what I can go over, to understand what I haven't taken the time or that maybe I've glossed over. And that was definitely a huge thing that I glossed over, was the depth of emotion that I held, the truth of, how deeply I felt for both of those people. And it was such a difference in the type of pain I carried. For my friend who passed away, it was, so much of his life was lost so early. So much of him had so much more to go, and he just didn't get that chance. And it was very painful to know that he wasn't even going to get the chance. Like, that was a lot of what my dream was about. He wasn't even going to get the chance to grow old. Dreams really illuminate a lot for you, because you can't, there's lucid dreaming, but there's a lot of your subconscious comes up to understand the things that are maybe that you're hiding from yourself, And yesterday, the healing that I did with my relative was very much conscious. I very much, went to the places where I was holding on to tension and let them go, and just tried to understand what came out, and what I was trying to withhold from myself, honestly. And to hold on to something for 25 years, not acknowledging that something hurt or made you very sad, really affects you. It affects the choices you make. It affects, everything, because you're operating out of this place where you don't understand, you think you're doing the right thing, but there's a big piece of you that is not participating. And I think it's important, because when we don't do those things, it's like having that tiny piece of glass, and then you step on it, and then your foot is bleeding. And you've got to sit down anyways. So it's best just to do the work that you can to clean up as much as you can before you try to walk. And so my little whatever today is an encouragement to look at your body and understand, as much as you can. Don't overwhelm yourself, but let yourself cry about the things that maybe you haven't before. Knowing that, it's okay to be sad. I have often, I think, withheld myself from being sad because I thought the sadness would never end, but instead I just keep making decisions that don't make me happy. And if I want to really be happy, then I've got to learn how to process my sadness. And last night and today and yesterday have been a big help to that, I guess. You know, a good stepping stone. And I'm even grateful to the piece of glass that helped me really put it all together today. That it's important to grieve so that all of us is, you know, autonomously, authentically connected and aligned with what is really going on with us emotionally. And, you know, if you've got to do it in pieces, do it in pieces. Like I said, don't overwhelm yourself. But do try to take the time to understand why you might be, you know, trying to push ahead in something versus give effort in an easy way. You know, like when you're injured and you try to run versus when you're in a good stride and you're running, you're often going much faster, giving the correct effort with ease than you are in trying to tighten all those muscles and really dig and try to overcome an issue or overcome an injury or overcome pain. You know, try running with a cramp in your side. It doesn't go very well. And I think that that's what a lot of us are doing. We're trying to participate in activities and make choices from a place where we've got a cramp in our side and we think we're going to run really fast. But it's best just to acknowledge those places we're still holding on to, things that make us sad. Because inside that sadness we find what mattered to us. Why were we sad? You know, yes, my relative, you know, she passed away. But what made me sad about it? That she wasn't here, yes, but why? What did she offer me that other people didn't? And it was just the warmth of her presence and her understanding and her love. And that was, you know, something that I needed to acknowledge that I was missing in my life, that I valued, and that I did have it, and that's why it hurt that it went away. And so things like that are important. It's important to acknowledge, you know, what made us all sad. Because again, like I said, that's what you valued. And so while the veil is thin, while our passed on loved ones are having the opportunity to communicate with us, I would suggest taking the time to understand what it is that we valued about their presence and to thank them for that. And then to understand, you know, what qualities it is in people in our lives that we want to have near us. You know, oftentimes we can find ourselves friends with people we don't mean to be because we aren't paying attention to what we need or what we love or what we enjoy. And to build happier lives, we have to acknowledge those things. So, instead of stepping on glass every day, take some time to acknowledge where you're tight and acknowledge what's hiding behind that tightness. And send some love to the people who've passed on before you.